All right, we will call to order the May 1st, 2025 meeting of the Historic District Commission for the city of Saugatuck. First order of business is roll call. Could you help us with that, Sarah?
Sure. Canarza.
Here.
Donahue.
Here.
Gardner.
Here.
Blanford. Leah. Root. Here. Patterson.
Here.
And Strader.
Here. We have a quorum. Thank you so much. Are there any agenda changes, additions, or deletions tonight, or are we as is? As presented? Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from the regular meeting held on April 3rd of 2025? And if so, do I have a motion?
Chair Straker, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 3rd, 2025.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Opposed? Okay. Are there any public comments tonight on the agenda items? None on screen. Is there any unfinished business that's not listed? We'll go right into new business. We have 3 applications tonight. The first is 152 Butler Street, which is an entry into a commercial building. Are you all from 152?
Yes.
Come on up, introduce yourself if you'd like.
Dan Scarborough from Kilwins. And what we have there is just the front entry of the store coming in. And we need to make a repair on the front of that. I don't know if you guys got the information on that.
Thank you.
And it's the structure of that building is the cement there in the front is quite thick. It's like 12 inches thick. In the cement itself is that tile is just, it was put in while it was soft and went into it. And so chipping it all out is a lot. And to recut all that out and redo it is pretty much impossible. So what we're looking at is just taking that section out there and just laying, and not taking it all the way down, because you can't take that 8 inches down and then restructure that and keep the water out, you know? So what we're looking at is going down about 3 or 4 inches, taking that out, and then just putting a nice layer of cement in there.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to mention that's not already in our application?
I don't think there's anything there.
Okay, great. What we normally do is we just go around the table and get everyone's point of view, and then we'll
Okay.
wrap it up. So thank you. We might have more questions for you.
Sure.
I'll start on this end. John, do you have any clarifying questions? Oh, hi, Megan.
Just, it looks like that piece is going to be where the line is, right?
Yes.
It looks like it's going to be the same width as in front, which is nice. It kind of frames around it.
Yes.
So not a question, just a comment. It looks like it already has the framework built around it. That's no other questions.
No questions. Well,
For whatever reason, I thought you were replacing the whole thing, so I have no questions. So this.
us?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I had the same understanding that Will had regarding the replacement. So it's just gonna be the and again, my comment was gonna be if it was replace all of it, I would question that because it's an architecturally significant building to the city as well as that. And I was born and raised here. I can never remember not seeing the tile in front of that building back. It was even before it was Kilwins, et cetera. So thank you for trying to maintain what you can.
Yeah.
But having to replace what you need. So thank you for the clarification. Thank you. No other questions.
Megan, I'll skip you. Leah, any clarifying questions or comments?
I guess I mean, I personally love this tile. I think it has so much to, the street and the building, and we actually went to Carol's last night and my dog, when we walked in, she goes, I love this tile. And I was thinking, yeah, it's about to go away. And I mean, I don't know if it's original to the building, but I would love to see it replaced or something, like this versus concrete. No, you guys just redid the floors.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, I just think that it's windy and it adds to the street, so. I don't know.
Just to clarify, you're suggesting replacing up to the line, so just this bottom sliver?
It will stay, Leah.
Oh,
It's just the line. See the line?
Just this.
Just the damaged part.
Yeah.
well.
No.
what you shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they haven't just repaired and have new tile put
Right.
in, but it, we
can't
can't
do it.
find it to match up, we can't, you
Yeah.
can't get close to it.
Come back up to the, so we can hear you in the, sorry. Yeah, I wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. Sorry, Leah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to
No
step
problem.
on you with that.
Yeah, so just where the blue line is across the top, that's the only section we'll be taking out, and we'll be going down just about 4 inches on it, and then we'll put new cement on, and then right over top of it. So it'll blend in with the sidewalk and look appropriate. Yeah, exactly.
I do have one more comment.
Yeah, let me just get to Megan. Let me just
Oh,
go to
sorry.
Megan's.
Yeah.
Megan, do we give you enough time to get to the page?
Yeah,
Okay,
I have no question.
okay. Sorry, John.
So in fact, this morning I was in Grand Rapids at a concrete place and there are amazing things that can be done with dye and tints. So you could end up tinting this concrete, this new piece to look like the old. If you want to go that far and not have a
Sure.
big slab of fresh white concrete there.
Yeah, I'd like to get information on
Yeah.
that. That would be fine.
Yeah.
We could look at that, adding to it.
The only added thing I would wonder is as you take up those damaged pieces, is it possible to hold on to them? Is it possible to salvage anything that you do take up?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced the age of that tile matches the age of the surroundings. But even so, I think you've heard us talk about the originality. It's definitely historic.
Right.
So if you're able to hold that, those pieces that you're taking, so in
Yeah.
case the same thing happens and you might be able to replace it, at least you
Sure.
have,
There might be a few other pieces we could cut out and hold,
yeah,
but the problem with that is
I'm with you.
the way we used to, the way we do that type of tile now is you put the cement down and then you have the tile sheets you just lay out. This, they poured the
Yeah.
tile and they just pressed it into the cement. You know, they just press that right into the wet cement. And so that is part of that whole 8 inches. So it's all got to kind of come out at once.
Mhm.
But we can probably get as many tiles out of it as we can.
Yeah, I think if you're
Yeah.
able to do that and just hold them
Sure,
someplace,
yeah,
or
for
even
any
for
other
the next
repairs.
steward, maybe somebody could be really crafty with that technique. And if 1 or 2 gets damaged, at
Right,
least you have
right.
10 or 12 to choose from.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That is a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would just, and again, I'm glad I wasn't the only commissioner that didn't read this correctly, so thank you for
Sure,
correcting
sure.
that this evening. But this is the kind of thing that most folks outside of the Historic District Commissioner, perhaps the owner of the building would say, they'd walk up and they say, yeah, something's changed, but they're not quite sure what it was.
Right.
The loss of that little, and I love the word whimsy, the loss of that little space would be, I think, noticeable to people, but they wouldn't really quite notice. And that's part of our
Right.
job, is to
Yeah.
try to help to maintain that. And I think about, there's some buildings downtown, I've been thinking about the Sandbar across the street, you walk in, it's got tile right inside, and that's from an old barber shop.
Yeah, right.
Now, that's not within anybody's purview except the property owners, but it's things like that that just really make a difference in terms of
Absolutely.
the way the building feels. And so anyway, I just very much appreciate you paying attention to this.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
anybody else have comments? And if not, would someone like to make a motion?
I will.
Okay.
I move to approve the replacement of the damaged entry tiles at 152 Butler with concrete in accordance with the plans and details submitted within the application materials.
Thank you. Do we have a second, Russ? Thank you. Any discussion? I would maybe just add to that motion that we ask the applicant to keep as much of the original material as they could
No problem.
for a future steward.
No problem.
All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming in. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Next is 439 Butler Street, a removal and repair of the storefront window. Hello, how are you? Come on up.
Yes, my name is James Fossman. I represent AJ Nasser, Ab Aldous. the window fell sometime in March. We have to fix it. And I need to take down the front facade underneath the window to see what's there and repair it.
Terrific. Thank you for the complete application. Is there anything else that you want to add to what's already in there? You already were pretty complete in what you shared with us.
It should be a very simple thing.
Yeah, okay. We'll go around the table just like we did the last application. I'll start on this end. Leah, do you have any questions or clarifying comments? Okay. Megan?
I do not have any either, but thank you very much for the thorough submission. Helps speed things up.
Russ?
Yes, thank you. And again, thank you for the complete application. I read it with interest. It was, that building, has, a great history in this town and, you know, you never look at the windows or things that just you walk in, right? And so the detail that you've obviously put into the application as well as examining what needs to be done is, I appreciate that. And I'm sure, your tenant appreciates that too.
Yeah, Ron Wilkins put the stuff in about 25 years
Well,
ago.
blame Ron then.
Yeah.
So, but thank you.
No questions.
No questions. All questions were answered in the application.
Yeah, same with me. If no one else has anything, would someone like to entertain a motion? I'll rush.
I will. I move to approve the front window replacement project at 439 Butler Street in accordance with the plans and details submitted within the application materials.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sean, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? Okay, we're set. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Last on tonight's agenda is 303 Culver, which is a historic marker like the others that are around town in Coughlin Park. I don't think that we have an applicant, but this is basically the,
Luke's your applicant.
what's that?
Luke's your applicant.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
it
the
can be if
applicant.
you
You're
need
the,
to.
okay, I thought we were,
Good night.
thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add to the application? It's not already there.
Yeah, I'll note that the markers will follow the same format as the other 5 locations in town. And the Saugatuck Center for the Arts did work with the preservation planner from the City of Holland to put together the content on the signs. So that's very cool. I did get the measurements of the size of the signs if you're interested. I think the height of the sign itself is like 6 feet 9 inches tall, and it's about, the pad is going to be about 6.5 square feet.
Isn't
So-
that the same as the same height?
Yep.
and everything? That's
It's,
okay.
yep, exactly the same. So.
Just open it up. Does anyone have any questions since they're sort of just like the other ones that are around town? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. First, what is the content of the sign going to be?
I don't know.
One side is the history of the pie factory, which is the SCA, and the other side, the other side is Blue Tempo,
Oh, Blue Temple. Okay.
which
Yeah,
is where Windjammer is.
I was told that both were relevant and important stories, but my zoning hat tells me to not ask for content. And then obviously I get here and I think, oh, okay, it's actually relevant here. But yeah, sorry. about
Relevant
that.
to the location.
Yes, of course. Absolutely it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So the building that used to be there was a fruit exchange, and then the SCA was the Lloyd J. Harris Pie Company across the street, and the Blue Tempo, which I have a personal interesting story about the Blue Temple trick or treating as a kid, which I'll tell at a different time. But anyway, the other question I had was about the if you can, yeah, it's right in that picture
Yeah.
on the right. That's going to be replaced by this new
Yeah, that's going to be removed.
sign.
Yep.
The first thing that came to mind when I saw this is, and the sign that's there was meant to be like a lot of these signs around different areas that you go, is to be looking at it, be able to look up and look at. And these new signs, which I like, and I've been in support of all of them, it's gonna be a bit of a different experience because people are gonna learn about something, but then I just thought about the view in terms of what people actually, when they walk out on that sidewalk, you got a view to the water, you got a view to the sculpture, that's to the pavilion that's down there. And I know this is a very small spot, but that was the first thing that came to mind is that, is it going to disrupt? It's a 6-foot high sign. That was my only thought. And I don't know if anybody else even thought about that or if that's, hey, Gardner, that's not the right thing to be thinking about here, but that's the first thing that I just kind of thought of.
I think
Change the
the
view.
red sculpture kind of dwarfs it. It's quite a bit bigger so I didn't think about that, no. But for one person's point of view, interestingly enough, the sight line in this photo, like kind of like right where the star is, if you go right above the star, all the way down to that tree is where there's another marker. So the first thing I went to was it's kind of interesting from a continuity point of here to here to here to here. We're starting to string these together, which a lot of towns like ours do, which I thought was interesting, but I didn't give any thought to the size because it's so narrow.
Yeah. And I'm just one of 7. So if nobody else thought that, could I just be in the minority? That's perfectly fine. What information's on the sign that's there? I don't even know. It's been a while since.
That one
Down
that's-
the
Yeah.
Fruit
Well-
Exchange.
Okay, but the
Yep.
one that's being replaced.
It's about the irrigation system through the rain garden.
Settling
at the
pond.
SCA.
Oh, okay, really?
And
Okay.
it's pretty tired.
It's tired.
Oh, yeah, it's.
It's faded and it felt like a field trip project that was good in terms of explaining the technology of what's under, but it
Got it.
feels like it's had its day.
It's probably like the one at the Oval Beach.
I think so.
Yeah.
I will note as well that this did go to PPW also and receive approvals there too. So,
I'm not gonna stand in opposition to it. It's just, that's one thing that came to mind when I looked at the,
yeah, it is much bigger.
Who was responsible for the existing sign? Do they need to be notified that it's being removed? This one?
I think,
Was it the SCA?
I feel like it is. I feel like
appears.
it's attributed. I feel like the SCA did it, but I don't know that I'm right on that, but for some reason, I think it's attributed to the SCA. And my guess is if they contributed to the content of this new thing, they're probably okay
With that?
with that.
Mhm.
But I don't think if the SCA did do it, like they don't have ownership rights over something that's in a public park, right?
right. There was one of these similar to this that was over in the information booth area out here, which has been removed. That was through the county. There was a county effort at one time to do like a history trail. I wonder if that was maybe part of that process. I don't know. I haven't looked at the sign, but no, it's definitely the city's responsibility and decision to do with what the city decides to do. So,
Well, the new sign's part of a greater whole and
Mhm.
connected to other ones, so it just completely makes sense. Yeah, I do too. People read them constantly. I see
Yeah.
people reading them.
fully supportive of it.
Yep.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve replacement of the existing sign that is outdated, displaying outdated information with an additional historical marker on the concrete pad at Coughlin Park.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second?
Any more discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Administrative approvals, there's a list of 6 or 7 there. Anything you want to mention or they're pretty self-explanatory?
They're pretty straightforward. I don't think any of them are overly complicated. I can run through them if you'd like.
Whatever you'd like.
Well, 102 Butler Street is, that's where I put the permits that are not on a direct parcel. Obviously, when I save data, I save it to a parcel. When it relates to the city, I use this parcel. So that's why it says the city's address, right? So that was a really straightforward, really quick. We replaced the decking at the chain ferry, or the chain link ferry, sorry. And it turned out that was exactly like for like, because Scott discovered that he could fix the wood, essentially re-varnish it and put it back into place. So originally I thought it was a replacement and that's why we did that. But 220 Culver Street was just a little projecting sign that got approved by City Council on Monday. 302 Culver was, we had to issue a stop work on that one because work was being done in the district without approvals. It was a trim replacement and we made some corrections to what they did and approved
Is this
that.
the one with the the trim was at a higher level?
It was, yeah.
And a different texture.
Okay, that's what it was.
So, 131 Mason was a fence panel removal. Essentially, the fire department found an issue with egress between two parcels here. And to address that, they just removed a fence panel. But because it's in the historic district, that did need some kind of review. So that was very easy and small. 31 Butler Street, power pedestal. That's, again, pretty self-explanatory. Plenty of power pedestals in that location. So no change to the character or area really. And then 807 Lake Street was a door replacement, and that was exactly like for like, materiality, color, and everything. That was done because the mechanical parts of the door were not functioning as they should. So the owner just got a new one, and he reached out and said, "Do I need a permit for this?" And I said, "Well, yeah, you do." And so we did administrative, and that is all of them. And I
Thank you.
assume you like the format of these
Great.
being included like that.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
sweet.
Great.
Yep.
Is there any communication? Is there any public comment? No one on the screen. Any commission comments?
Yeah, just back to the decking at the Chain Ferry. And again, I appreciate the fact that the city's subject to the same ordinances and laws that the public is. And so I appreciate seeing that. You know, I'm so happy that the landings for the Chain Ferry are being updated or upgraded, or not even upgraded, updated, because I've been kind of barking in Scott Herbert's ear for several years because it's just, they've not been paid attention to. So very pleased by that. Where I'm going with this is that I wonder if there's situations where the Historic District Commission itself even really needs to, I mean, I appreciate getting the information, but is the approval process, in your opinion, Luke, appropriate for what needs to be done there? So for instance, I know the shingles have to be replaced, and there's some other work that has to be done on the actual metal portion of which presumably at some point, if it's just gonna be painting it or just replacing the shingles, is that still gonna be something that's gonna require that to come back, or can that be done administratively approved through you? I just
So-
more to understanding.
We had talked about the Chain Ferry landing coming before the board in the past. Obviously, with buildings in town, if we're just doing a re-roof, we have it, it's administratively approval. But I guess it depends on the scope. Yeah, if we're touching up the exact same paint and replacing it with the exact same shingles, it may be appropriately done administratively. But again, this is quite a big draw for town. It's quite a big asset, and it's in the historic district. So maybe it would also be appropriate to come before the board. I mean, this is the kind of thing where I would reach out to Tim and feel out, case by case, what the best steps forward are. So.
Yeah, Luke always emails me and says, "Do you think this is administrative, or do you think it even needs an administrative?" I looked at that. So I would say yes on administrative for sure.
Mhm.
Mostly because somebody could think like for like is a synthetic shingle instead of a real shingle. I mean, I don't know. Somebody at the city might do that. They didn't,
Mm.
but I look at that kind of structure kind of like I do the sign out on Blue Star or the Holiday Hill sign. Like, it's not a structure, but it's a contributing resource in a historic district. So we should probably pay attention to it and be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
But I think usually administrative is okay. Is that
Yeah,
Kind of
no, I,
making sure that it just is
yeah.
minimally covered?
Yeah,
If the
and-
line is ever gray, in my mind, it's always a conversation I have with Tim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
completely
it's never a
support that.
risk that I
Yeah.
take.
So really where I'm going with this is I want to make sure that we're not administratively that bureaucracy is getting in the way of our departments of getting things done, because this
Oh.
is something I think needs to be done and should have
Okay.
been done. And I know that departments are focused on getting work done quickly. I just don't want the bureaucracy of the city to get in the way of getting good things completed.
Completely agree. On the other side of that, I think a really good example is 439 Butler Street, the hardware building that we just approved. That is all like for like, but when you're talking about disassembling and reconstructing something in a contributing structure, that very much felt like it needed to be a meeting
100%
versus a staff approval. So that was a decision, like that's the same decision we make on all contributing structures that way. But that's where we sort of, that's the decision tree.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. If there's nothing else.
I do
Yeah,
have one more
sorry, Doug.
topic. We have a unique opportunity, and I think it's appropriate to open it up for discussion to rescue an historic structure and maybe relocate it within the historic district or not in the historic district, but the property, it's the garage at the Peterson, the old one-car garage and on the Peterson property. It's going to be torn down if someone doesn't want it.
Outside the historic
It's
district.
outside the historic district, but I've identified in my walks a few properties that could benefit from having this little one-car garage that don't have garages. So people have been applying to build garages, and not all of them have made them look historic. This one has a 1940s look, I would say. It's not as old as the 1800s house that was there. It was done in the 30s or 40s. It's a one-car garage, has a cupola on top.
Okay.
And I have a couple properties that I feel like knocking on the door and saying, do you want a garage? But maybe that's something that Luke could do, or I don't even know if it's in our purview.
Yeah, which property is this, John?
The Peterson property on the river. RJ.
Oh, which is outside of the city.
It's outside the city, but that garage,
Should be really careful to suggest to someone, they may like, yeah, I love it, and they're in the district, and then we may not.
we
approve
may,
it.
well, it might not fit their property. It might not fit.
Right.
You'd have to be done with a caveat, but I think it's worth rescuing. So I just throwing it
Well,
out.
or worth, I guess, getting the word out that
Yeah.
it could be somebody inside or outside the district in our area could leverage it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be in the district,
Right.
but there are properties that could be enhanced by it. I think it's that cute that it could be, it shouldn't be destroyed.
Yeah, so I walk by that all the time. And there's two buildings. So the two I think of, there's the party barn where we used to party with.
The barn isn't gonna be an apartment, that's restored.
But the one that's just south of it, is that the one you're talking about?
It's the only one-car garage. Yeah, it's right up to the street, pretty much. It's right in front of everything.
Okay.
It's serving as an office right now for the job site, but
Okay,
there's only one little one-car garage there.
Okay.
The rest is all new buildings or that barn. But there's a house, there's a property on Lucy Street that it's perfect for it. That one right next door to, yeah, I know.
There are obviously zoning concerns
Yeah,
as
there
well,
are.
that, you know, so there is a few
know.
caveats.
100%,
No.
100% with you, John. I think.
I
that-
know.
I'm with you in spirit.
Yep.
No, I know. I just want to get it, like, let's think about things like that. There's opportunities.
Let me put this on the table with that. The bathrooms over at Bald Head. The building that's slated to be torn down, and there's already been a property owner outside the city who's asked to have it because they want to put it on their property and turn it into bathrooms.
Really?
Beach bath or something,
I-
beach bath or pool bath or something?
I don't know. I just know that that was mentioned. And so the council on Monday approved a $330,000 bid to tear down those bathrooms and build new ones.
That caught.
300.
330.
I'll do it for 250.
So I bring this up because that building is, we don't know how old it is, but best at our guess, it's probably at least 60, if not 70 years old. Now, it's not in the historic district, but it's, I don't even know if you want to call it historical, but it's part of the rustic nature of that park. And what's going to be going in to replace it is not going to be rustic. It's going to be brick. It's going to look more like the pump house, which apparently that building, what I'm being told, was originally some kind of pump house for the pump house building. So anyway, I bring this up because of what you brought up, John, is that's something that, could that be used elsewhere in the city for public use?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's no great shakes about it. It's wood.
Wait, are you talking about the Baldy one or?
Mount Bald Head. The bathroom's at the base of the
That
stairs
is a
at Mount
cool
Bald Head.
outside. So
cool.
the whole point of this conversation is that there, and I've seen it in other cities, things are moved around and brought in to add to the historical fabric. And I know it's a slippery slope and Tim's like looking at me like, shut up. But I mean, I think there's an opportunity here and
I'm
it
with
has
you.
to go through the proper channels, but let's
I agree with you. The suggestion I think you're bringing up should probably stop at, there's a building that's being torn down that can be rescued. If anyone in the area is interested, it's up to them to figure out how it fits on their property in or outside the historic
Of
district.
course, that goes without saying. I just want to get the word out. So if any of you go by it, see it, know somebody who might want to entertain going through the proper channels to move it, it's free.
You
Is there
can
a
put that at your
timeline,
condo.
John?
Pardon?
Or-
Yeah, no, I can't. What'd you say?
Oh, I just said, is there a timeline? Like.
Yeah,
do
about-
they-
Couple months.
Okay.
Yep, easy to move. Just need a concrete slab and moving place, company to
So
move.
if I remember correctly, the house that they tore down was offered for $1 or free for anybody that would move it, right?
The Peterson.
I was trying to get the word out on that too. I
Yeah.
didn't bring it up here, but
Yeah.
it didn't pan out. I notified the Historic Center. I notified everybody I could. There were no takers.
Yeah. The bathrooms at the base of Bald Head are clearly city property and within the city limits, and that's definitely something I would like to see the city find a better use for. It's nice that and I know the people that asked to, if the city's gonna get rid of it, to take it, good stewards of that, but I still think the city has an opportunity to use that somewhere else for something that could be purposeful, just for the memory of it. It's got, I mean, a lot of people have used it. And anyway, so there may be others in the city, but that was one that just came up. So,
Any other comments? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
You, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
yes,
Yes, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Tim?
Very much.
All right. Apologies for the lack of clarity on the memo.